Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fact Sheet Friday. Yes, we got a lot. We got a lot to go through today, so I might run through some of these fairly quickly. I might take a bit more time on others. So if I run through one quickly, it means there's something cool coming up, or I've just covered something cool, and the last one is a real treat today. So let's start off with the very first one from this week. It is the Valtra A-Series tractor, 65,600 to buy. It can be anywhere between 100 and 110 horsepower, 150 litre fuel tank, top speed of 40 kilometers an hour. You can get a front weight, wheel brand, wheel setup, engine setup, front loader attacher, main colour and rim colour, and the wheel options are standard tyres, wheel weights, wide tyres with the weights, narrow tyres, rear narrow twin wheels, and communal tyres. And on the back is a Kuhn SR314 windrower. 23,000 to buy, requires 40 horsepower. It's 25 foot wide, and I'm going to say 25 foot because it's more of an American thing. And top speed of 18 kilometers an hour or 11 miles an hour. It's also 7.8 meters is what 25 foot is. This is interesting, super interesting. It's a V-rake. I know that's not the correct term, by the way. It's a V-rake. I'd call them V-rakes because they make a V shape. We've never seen this or anything like it in Farm Sim by default before. It's amazing to see this here. American players, you'll probably appreciate this a bit more than Europeans, because it's something that you're more likely to see in America. I've switched over to the 4K now. Also, I'm doing this all through OBS and screen capture for once because there's just so much to go through. I've got everything set up, ready to go. I've got a little slideshow on the go here. So, quick little things. It looks like it's raking up hay, which is just laid out flat, which is cool. Farmer's wearing a white cap, red jacket, and all that kind of stuff. Really, the big takeaway from this picture is the V-rake. It is awesome to see. This is a new Valtra, by the way. I don't think we've ever seen the A-Series Valtra in Farm Sim before. It is a new tractor to the game. It is a new style of machinery to the game in terms of the V-rake. And it's pretty damn awesome to see this. But let's move on, because there's something really cool at the end that it's going to take a while to talk about. The last one's a real doozy this week. Next up is the Case IH 7200 Pro Series tractor, 98,000 to buy. Anywhere between 170 and 261 horsepower, 445 litre fuel tank, top speed of 24 miles an hour or 40 kilometers an hour. You can change the wheel brand, wheel setup, and engine setup. Wheel options are standard, wheel weights, wide tires and the weights, rear twin wheels and narrow tires, rear narrow twin wheels and just plain narrow twin wheels. This looks very familiar to some people. Yes, it would appear Giants may or may not have taken a bit of inspiration from some of the DLC that came out from FS17 and some of the mods. Because there's a lot of stuff that, like, I distinctly remember saying, oh, this is a cool mod, I kind of wish this was in game. You know, I'm not saying that I caused this, by the way. It's nice to see stuff that is just generally regarded as, oh, this would be a cool thing to have in game. Nice to see it coming in. And this, by the way, is more than likely the tractor that was in the background of the Ravenport video that everybody was wondering what on earth it is. It was most likely the Case IH 7250 or the 7200 Pro Series. On the back of the case is a Schrittmacher Rapide 580V. It's a loading wagon, costs €100,000 to buy, 35,000 litre capacity, working speed of 20 kilometers an hour, 12 miles an hour. You can change the wheel brand to be Trelleborg, and I think Michelin is the secondary brand in FS19. And it'll take anything that a forage wagon will take. What's cool about this, if I bring up the HD, the 4K, it is actually 4K. I've just got a 1080p monitor. The pickup on this is effectively backwards from what maybe you're a bit more used to in European, not in European style, but in most forage wagons, the pickup angles in this direction, towards the tractor. In this one, it angles backwards away from the tractor. I would imagine it's a bit less susceptible to random bumps and nonsense going on, so maybe for the best there. Other things of note in this picture. Again, the new lighting system just being beautiful. Can we just note that again? Because I note that every time. The new beacons, really easy to see in this picture. They're completely different from what was in FS17. The tires just looking awesome again. That's down to the new lighting and material system. You know, there's not too much really worth noting in this picture. A lot of detail in both models. The same could be said of the Valtra that we had looked at earlier. A lot of detail in both models. You can see every little kind of nook and cranny of both the forage wagon and the tractor. But I think it's about time we move on to the next fact sheet, which is just the Rapide, Schumacher 8400 Rapide 8400W. I made a hames of that, but we'll continue. Which is the bigger brother of this one. It's another loading wagon, 150,000 to buy, 240 horsepower requirement, working speed again, 20 k's, 12 miles an hour, capacity of 53 to 56,500 litres. It can take all the wonderful things from a loading wagon, and you can change capacity and wheel brand again. It's being pulled by a mysterious John Deere. We won't actually find out what it is this week, spoiler alert. That might be a 6M, but I think it might be a bit big to be a 6M. But again, this is just kind of a rear view of basically Schumacher forage wagons all have the same basic design. So it's basically kind of a rear view idea of what the other one looks like. Just because Schumacher really, or Schumacher or whatever, kind of just copy and paste and make things bigger. That's a really good design philosophy, I think. You can see the hydraulic line going up here because this will obviously have to lift and stuff like that. Again, this one will have the reversed pickup. I say it's reversed, it's the normal pickup for them, but it's reversed to what maybe you're used to with most forage wagons, with the pickup angling forwards. This one angles backwards when it's down, so it's maybe a bit less susceptible to bumps and maybe conforms to the ground a bit better. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be my guess. And you can see pretty much every nut and bolt on the wagon holding it together. Really nicely made, really nicely put together. It has a walking floor. You can kind of see that in there and in above the wheels. It's got the walking floor design. Without further ado, let's move on to the next. Oh, I need to scroll this way. Next fact sheet, which is the Big Master Western WCF. It's an animal transporter, 16,000 to buy. It can carry 2 horses, and you can change what color it is. It's on the back of the brand new pickup, and I don't know if there's much that I can say about this, quite honestly. It's a horse trailer. Great to see a horse trailer that you can just attach to your pickup or vehicle. You might be able to even attach it to the UTVs, maybe, I don't know. A really good idea of what the chrome's going to look like in FS19 up here. This corner obviously shining brightly, and then at the back here, the stainless steel and chrome at the back, just kind of shining out nicely, and it again on the rims. I don't recall seeing Beckman before. I think it's a German brand that maybe makes stuff for America, I would imagine. I've not done any research on the brands, unfortunately, but it's nice to see what could be a new brand in game. I don't recall seeing it before. And it's definitely nice to see something that you can transport horses around with, because in reality you would transport horses in something vaguely similar to this. The ones that I've seen in real life being pulled by pickups and jeeps and stuff. A bit different shape, but similar idea. On to the next fact sheet, which is the New Holland T6 series, and we'll get to what it's carrying in a minute, because I want to talk about that too. It's obviously a tractor, 102,000 to buy, anywhere between 125 and 175 horsepower, 250 litre fuel tank, top speed of 50 k's or 31 miles an hour. You can change the wheel brand, wheel setup, engine setup, and if you really want to, you can put on a front loader attacher. Wheel options are standard wheel weights, wide tires and weights, narrow tires, rear twin wheels or communal, and I'm just going to skip on to the 4K here so we can have a good look at this thing. We obviously got Lemken equipment. We'll get to that. That's actually the next fact sheet, spoiler alert. But we're going to have a look at the New Holland first. It is, I think, the newer shape of the T6. Like, I might well be wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to shout at me in the comments. You can see through the, it's again up to the new FS19 standards. You can see through the grille, you can see the engine, the radiators, and all the good stuff in through the grille, which is just so much better than just the kind of black on black grille that used to be the thing in Farm Sim. It's great that you can see through it now that it is actually kind of a working grille. If that's a good way to phrase it, I don't know. And again, the lighting system just playing shenanigans with everything. You can see the glass has kind of a dull sheen to it. It maybe needs a bit of cleaning. The front of the tractor is shinier than the glass, which is a bit odd, but okay. It's because the light's not shining directly on the glass, to be fair. As well, the shroud, the cooling shroud around the exhaust. That's what that is for, by the way. It's for, I believe for cooling, so the exhaust doesn't overheat. Little toolbox on the side. Diesel and AdBlue tanks on this side. That's what the little blue cap is for, by the way. That's the AdBlue tank. It doesn't say it anywhere, but the AdBlue tank is always slightly smaller than the diesel tank. And this looks to be the smaller tank because the diesel tank wraps around it on, I think, pretty much every side. Cool things worth noting in this picture are the hydraulic hoses attaching to the tractor here. And these hoses here, which go, I don't know where they go. They go under or over the front axle and then kind of magically disappear and reappear back here at the back. I'm really confused by this because we'll get on to the next picture, and if you could see, if they're going over the front axle, they'd be clearly visible here. No, they wouldn't, because they'd be on the other side of the tractor. Oh, hang on, they'd be on the other side of the tractor, but there's these two here that would be clearly visible that aren't. So I don't know where the seed hoses are actually going. Anyway, they're fertilizer hoses. We've got the Lemken, both of these are Lemkens, so I'm not going to say Lemken twice, even though I've said Lemken quite a lot. The 0-9, which is the planter on the back, the seeder on the back. No, it's a planter, I apologise, just looking at what I can plant. 26,000 to buy, 110 horsepower requirement. It's on the back of a New Holland T6 175, so that's maybe a bit overkill. It's definitely getting powered. 20 foot wide, or 6 meters, 600 litre seed tank on it. You can go at 15 kilometers an hour, 9 miles an hour. Obviously it carries seeds, and you can plant corn, sunflower, soybeans, sugar beets, and cotton. Ah, that's how you plant cotton. Okay. I was kind of wondering how you planted cotton. And on the front of the tractor you have the Solitaire 23, which is a fertilizer tank, costs 8,000, capacity of 1,500, and holds fertilizer. And let's just sit for a moment and look at how pretty the new textures for the ground are, because that's very pretty indeed. Moment over. Let's have a look around this picture. So, one thing that I just keep noting is these distant hills are very blurry. I feel like they could be better. As I'm just going to note that immediately. I feel like they could be improved upon somehow. But I get the feeling that they're the way they are for optimization, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. Things worth noting for the equipment itself is the particle system coming off the back. It's not overkill. I have seen seeders, modded seeders primarily, granted, that just have this insanely huge plume of dirt coming off the back. It would just be little specklings, because you're like, yes, you are digging up some dirt and moving dirt around, but you're not, number one, you're not moving fast enough to kick up this giant plume of dirt. Number two, you're not moving that much dirt. You're moving enough to put in tiny seeds, or seedlings. But also other things of note here. There was something else I wanted to note. The dust particles, that makes sense. you would want to be seeding on a dry day, so there would be dust being kicked up, and obviously you're moving dirt, so tiny little bits will be just kicked up into the air because it's too light to just stay down. You can also see again the hydraulic hoses connecting, and I'm kind of rushing myself through this one because I've realised we've got quite a lot left to do, and we're 15 minutes into the video already. On to the next one. I'm happy because the New Holland TX32 is in FS19. It's harvesting a weedy field for some reason. Whoever took this, whoever's farm this is, I need to have a stern word with you, as you've clearly not done any weeding or anything to do with herbicides. You've done a terrible job. Your yield of crop will be atrocious. It's the New Holland TX32 combine harvester, 100,000 to buy, 160 horsepower produce, 350 litre fuel tank, 25 km an hour, 15 mile an hour top speed, 5,600 litre tank for the crops, and it can harvest wheat, barley, canola, oats, soybean, corn, and sunflowers. Can't harvest cotton because it's not a cotton harvester. We also have the TX32 header, which obviously is a header. It costs €32,000. It's a 13-foot or 4-meter header. Expect to see me using this a lot, by the way. In FS19, I love the TX32. Working speed of 10 k's or 6 miles an hour, and it's for wheat, barley, canola, soybeans, and oats. I love this combine. It looks so good. I'm so happy to see this. And again, I mentioned earlier that maybe Giants took some inspiration from community-made things from FS17. This is, I think, another thing that might have been inspired. I don't know. Maybe they were planning it either way. But perhaps there is some community inspiration for this. But does it matter if there is my question. Because it's just nice to see an older style New Holland combine, big, bold and yellow, very, very yellow, overly yellow, too yellow, New Holland Y. But no, so it's nice to see a smaller New Holland combine. I would imagine the John Deere's replacing the TC590. New Holland wanted to bring in or maybe Giants asked New Holland to bring in a different small range combine, so they brought in the old TX32. It's nice to see another classic in game. This week is kind of a mix of classics and more modern equipment. You know, we've had the old case, we've had there's something else coming up in a minute that I looked at it earlier and my jaw hit the floor with what was in that picture. But yeah, it's harvesting some either wheat or oats, I'm not entirely sure. And just looking pretty in general. I like this combine. On to the next one. This is the one that shocked me. Because in this, we have 2 new brands in one picture. I don't recall Giants ever doing this with a fact sheet before. We have the Fiat. Some people are going to be very happy, and oh my god, the number of Fiat 11090 mods that will appear will be insane, and I'm dreading the flood of 11090 mods. The Fiat 1300 DT, it's a tractor, 59,000 to buy, 150 horsepower out of that little orange machine, 200 litre fuel tank, 15 mile an hour top speed or 25 km an hour. You can change the wheel setup between standard wide tyres, rear twin wheels, or narrow tyres, or care wheels as they were formerly known in Farm Sim. As well as that, you've got the Fortschritt HW80. Now this is a very, or HW80, HW80, if you want to go properly German, because these are East German, or former East German, I guess. And apologies for the jump cut. Oh, good lord. The Fortschritt HW80. These are very commonly made as mods, so I'm kind of surprised to see these as just base game equipment. Glad to see them. I'm not complaining. Glad to see these base game equipment. We will talk about them in a second. They're trailers, 8,500 to buy, 8,000 litre capacity. Can carry trailer things, including sugarcane, which is still in the game. Much to maybe the annoyance of some people. I don't know. That's a crap that I might not grow too much. I personally don't like it. It's not something that agrees with me. You can change the main color, the design color, the rim color, the wheel brand, and the wheel setup of these Fortschritts, and you can choose between standard and wide tires. Now we go to the interesting things, because there are interesting things worth noting in this picture. Number one, obviously the Fiat and Fortschritts. They're worth noting just by themselves. Fiat, brand new brand, now called New Holland. So Giants have potentially done some finagling to get the Fiat name in game. That I was sat here earlier on today looking through these, as I do. I was going through, I was like, oh, this is nice, this is nice, this is nice, this is nice. Fiat! So it just, this one floored me. If you look just behind the air filter here, where I'm circling my mouse, you'll see there's a bit of wear going on in this area. Bit of metal wear, and there's around this edge here as well. Just there's a bit, it's getting a bit worn down. It's getting a bit old. So this is the new wear mechanics and the damage coming in, and I know you can see more on the Fortschritts. We'll get to that. But a Fiat in-game default. I'm shocked. Pleasantly so. And of course you've got the two Fortschritts. Again, a bit of a shock to see these in-game. Very commonly modded in. I go on mod sites and I see no end of these, so it's great to see them in-game as a piece of default equipment. That's almost certainly something that's been inspired by the community just going mental for these trailers for one reason or another. I never got the fascination with the Fortschritts, mainly because they're dolly trailers, and I hate all dolly trailers. Please stop making dolly trailers. Just open letter to all manufacturers worldwide. Stop with the dollies. But on a more serious note, apart from my hatred of dolly trailers, kind of the first thing I notice is the tarp that you can deploy. Also the voice crack I just said. The tarp that you can deploy. I don't recall that ever being modeled in game. I know that sometimes, maybe, no, I think it was before in FS 15 or 13. I think there were a couple of default in-game things that the tarp was modeled on, so I'm actually not going to continue on that little tangent. But the more important thing is, number one, the fill plane looks really cool. Same kind of fill plane, it's not the exact same, but it's the same kind of fill plane, same kind of method is in FS17 as far as I'm aware. It might be wrong there. But more importantly, look at the trailers themselves. You've got the metal wear, you can actually see bare metal in the rearward one down back here. You can see the paint coming off, the paint being chipped off and worn off by just years of use and just abuse and grain going in and out and just everything going down over time. I really think this is the highlight of the fact sheets so far for me, honestly. We've had so much good equipment, so many amazing fact sheets, but then for Giants, a month out from launch, it's a month tomorrow. Am I getting my dates right? A month tomorrow, Farm Sim 17 launches, or Farm Sim 17. FS19 comes out a month from tomorrow. So this is really the 1 month to go. I'd call it a cannon, but this is more of an orbital nuke as a warning. This is 1 month ago, and this is Giants saying, hey, look, we're keeping stuff up our sleeves still. There's still surprises to come. Here's a big one, Fiat. Here's another one, Fortschritt. Here's another one. New, old, classic New Holland, classic Case, classic Fiat. All in 1 week's fact sheets. And to top it all off, I guess, this is 8 fact sheets this week. That's why I was going through some of them fairly quickly, and I'm settling on this one now. But we've had 8 fact sheets this week. I was told I was told by somebody that they were expecting 6. They were wrong. We've got 8 different fact sheets this week. And this one, to top it all off, as a grand finale. This is going out with a bang, Giants. GG, I applaud your tenacity for jumping 2 brand new brands of the game into the same fact sheet and having it run last in our little hoedown this week. One thing I must say is the orange for the Fiat is very distracting. It's the same problem I had, well, not the same problem, a similar problem to what I had last week with the New Holland wheel loader, is that it's just day glow orange and it's really distracting me. Not a complaint based the Giants, just it's a distracting colour. Because I keep finding my eyes drawn to it. And the Fiat logo. Yeah. If anybody was expecting Fiat in FS19, and if anybody was running around claiming it, or starts running around claiming it now, today, you know, I knew Fiat would be in, I knew that, yeah, no, they're lying. Because, nobody saw this coming. Fortschritt, maybe. Fiat, no. So maybe, just maybe, we might not get a flood of Fiat 11090s, because maybe, just maybe, there might be one in game by default. Now that the Fiat brand is there, maybe. I don't know anything more than you guys on that, but I can hope, because I want a really good Fiat 11090 that's not modded from something else that maybe doesn't have the greatest textures in the world. I want a really top quality one. As much as I dislike them, I do actually like them. Or as much as I say I dislike them, I do like them. But that's going to do it for today. I hope you're all sufficiently shocked. Please leave your shock in the comments below, and if you're shocked, hit the like button. I'll leave you by saying, I'm RainbowDave, you've been watching the fact sheets for this week. Fiat's on its way. Just giant shock. Until next time, stay safe, and goodbye.